Where do we think your character will be next season?
Well, I think you can insinuate a few things because I'm here at Comic-Con. So that probably means I survived.
Okay.
But where you will find me still remains a question which I cannot answer, although I do know.
And Broussard's relationship with Kate was really interesting to see.
With Apis?
With Katie. Yeah. And she, just their dynamic was tested in season 2, and it was kind of neat to see you guys reunited, but there was definitely some trust things after what she pulled in season 1.
Well, not only the trust issues from season 1, you add in the element that Will is now part of the equation, so, and they're two different types of men. They're both, they have a lot of similarities, Will and Broussard. But when two guys have a lot of similarities, it doesn't make for an easy communication or easy compatibility. I think they have to find that throughout the course of the season. They start off sort of hating each other, because Will represents something that Broussard can't control in Katie. That's her personal family relationship. And I think, but Broussard represents something in Katie that Will can't control. And so she's sort of in the middle of the two of them. And by the end of the season, though, Broussard and Will have found a way to work together, which I thought was very interesting and very compelling. How we sort of got to this place where we could trust each other, because Will saves Broussard's life, and then Broussard saves Will's life.
A lot going on there. Now, I feel like, do you think it's hard for Broussard to not go with them at the end of season 2? Did you think a part of him wanted to be this one big happy family, or do you think he needed to kind of go on his own and be like, hey, I'm gonna stay?
I think a part of him definitely wants a family, and I think that him seeing them operate and function as a family unit definitely ignited the fire in him to want that and have that again, because with the start of season 2, we saw the loss of his mother, we saw that he cared about her very deeply. We also got to see that why he was the way he was with the things that happened, while he was a soldier, working for the private sector. So you got a glimpse into that, but the thing that he did lose was his mother, which was the only family that we've shown him to have so far. So I think he wants that, but I also think that he knows he can't necessarily have that with their family. That's their unit. So I think he has to. I think the closest thing he had to a family was Morgan, and when sadly she's taken out in the finale, I think he feels like he has more to do within the box, and he can't just walk away from that.
Now, something that I gotta say really impressed me in season 2, and this happened a few times, with the action of the show, when you would go and Will, Katie, and Broussard would go and clear a building, the way they did, it was almost like a one shot, and they're just following you in the training it was amazing. It was so
they did a couple of those one-ers. I think the first one we see it is in the house with Will and Katie, which was just beautiful, and that was Juan Campanella, who directed those episodes. Directed the first one of them in the house with that, and then we did it again in episode 12, the whole sequence through the theater, and that was done as a runner. So you start outside, take out two guys, you go into the theater, and everybody has to be on the same page, otherwise you have to start over. We started over a lot because it's a lot of moving pieces, but I think it adds to the element of tension. When you can see everything that's happening in real time, and that everybody's a part of this movement. I definitely think it was an added layer to the show that we were able to pull off. But that was these guys, Ryan Condal, Juan, planning out all of this stuff, because you can't just show up and go, hey, we're going to do a runner. It doesn't happen like that. You have to plan, and it has to be meticulous, and everybody has to hit the mark.
There were moments this season where Broussard was a little bit more cautious, very cautious and very stealthy, and then there were a couple of scenes where he was actually willing to put himself out there and sacrifice himself. So I was trying to understand a little bit more about the motivations where in those situations when you try to interpret the script. How do you feel that he was going with it? Did you feel comfortable? Did he feel comfortable sacrificing himself at that moment, or did he want to live?
I think one of the things he's been seeking since the beginning is redemption. We saw more of why he was seeking that redemption in season 2. But then he was able to establish human relationships. I think that most of season 1, the only person he really connected with was Katie. But toward the end of season 1 and into season 2, we saw him establish relationships with Morgan and with Will. And so I think that just brought him back to why he's doing this, and sort of why are they all fighting? Obviously it's collaborate or resist, but why are they resisting? You have to stand for something to resist something. This occupational, this government, this proxy government is installed, it comes and it upends your life. And, what side are you going to stand on? Are you going to stay silent or are you going to fight? I think he's naturally a fighter, but seeing them function the way they function and having those personal relationships, it gives him more of a reason to fight and more, it reminds him why he even, I think, joined service to begin with. What are you fighting for? He's fighting for other people, and I think they reminded him. I think Katie was the bridge to remind him of that.
Does Broussard really trust Will, or is he kind of like respectfully cautious of Will?
I think when someone saves your life, that says it all. And I definitely think he trusts Will because Will has saved his life, and he puts his life on the line for Will as well. I think he may not agree with Will, but I think in a pinch he knows that Will, because Will has proven this, that Will do the right thing.
You kind of get those little subtle looks occasionally, so I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah, it's just sort of like it's like when you know that a person is very different from you, but you still respect them. And if you had to go to battle with this person, you know that you can depend on them. I think that's the way he feels about Will. Now, are they going to sit around and drink whiskey together? I don't know. But I definitely think there's a mutual respect between the two of them.
See, that's interesting to know, because I was going to ask, it seems like he's opening himself up more to trust this year, but he is a survivor and he's still very wary than that if it all hits, I'm the only one I can count on.
Yeah, cautious. He's still very cautious. I think experience and surviving the things that he has survived, in the service and then in the private sector, that teaches you to be cautious. You're cautious of everybody. I think the minute he gives up the gauntlet to Will and Katie and he trusts them to take it to another level. He knows that they will do that. He has total confidence that they will seek out Noah's people and make that happen. Right. And that's because of the journey that they've gone on through together during this whole second season.
Guys, one last question. Thank you.
Well, the show's always on so many different things. Like, it's a alien invasion show. It's a show like about spy games and corporate operations. Is there like a theme in season 3? Is it kind of a little more of like a mix still of all those
I think the core of the show has consistently been about family. What are the links that people go to protect that family? And the question of the morality of what's right and wrong. Within this world, there are no definitively right choices. There are a lot of gray areas, and I think when you are in that type of position, things that you thought were right, you're open to change those things to survive. I mean, that's the natural human instinct. I think is to survive. But I think the show at its core is still about family, or the loss of family. For Broussard, but for the Bowmans, it's about keeping their family together. For Broussard, it's overcoming the loss of family and trying to maybe establish a new family.
Guys, we're going to finish up now.
And the show almost feels like a new show in a lot of ways. We have them expanding the world. Is that kind of what you look at in season 3, is continuing to expand this world and looking at other colonies and just how people are reacting to the situation?
Yeah, I think that's perceptive. The goal at the end of the season was to have a hard reset. We told these great stories that we could find the Los Angeles block, and it was getting a little claustrophobic. You didn't want to be repeating or repeating anything. And I felt like there was a genuine hunger in the audience to see beyond the walls and what else was out there, and potentially find a new colony. This might be run totally differently in a totally different environment. So,
We started the season in a fantastic fashion by starting with little teasers and flashbacks. Are we going to see more in the next season?
I think the flashback device, just because it was so heavily used on Lost, we've always been wary of using it. We want to use it, sparingly, which is not. It's a great device, but I think that generally we like to use our teasers to show something out of world that is happening at the moment. Because the show is so tightly focused on the moment, it's like this one opportunity we have in the story is to go somewhere beyond it, just to give you a totally different slice of life. So I think that's the most valuable way to use those things. Just have the to pass these characters come up organically and as you in a conversation and have to learn about them.
Yeah, it actually helped that. I think it tied in a couple of questions I had in the back of my mind.
Yeah. I mean, going back to that day that we'd missed, I mean, if Ryan had written a more conventional pilot, that would have been the first episode of the series. But very consciously, he thought it'd be much more interesting to start further downstream storytelling-wise, and I think he was right. But like you, I was always burious, well, what actually happened on the day of the arrival? But that's such a seminal event, and I don't think there's really another analog for that in the storytelling.
One thing too that I think I appreciate about the show is that the violence always means something. Like what you can just feel like the brutality of the world, but just like the invasion when they went to the neighborhood and they were attacking like in the suburbs, it just really felt raw and gritty. And the way you directed like the one-shot attacks like in the theater. I mean, the action I thought is just so fresh for what's going on television right now. Is that something you're thinking of too for season 3 to continue that kind of mindset?
I mean, that comes from great directors, and we've been very fortunate to have them. Peter Lito, who directed the sequence you're mentioning in episode 12, is fantastically talented. We're fortunate to have him come back for episodes 3 and 4 this year. Tim Southam, who did an amazing job with a bunch of episodes, our producing director, he's doing 1, 2, and probably 13. So we've been just very gifted and very blessed in who comes to work on the show. And we have limited resources, and we're a show that shoots in 8 days. So that theater wonder, they shot in a day and a half, which is a miracle. I mean, shows I will not name would take 20 days to shoot these things, right? But that's why it feels visceral. I mean, part of the style choices of the show are to make sure that it has to be gritty and real and shot, handheld and shaky, just because we don't have time to do setups. So, it's definitely been planned, but it's also the talent of the operators and the director who's making it happen.
Are there any sub-stories or B-stories that we wanted to cover in the first 2 seasons that you are going to be able to explore now in season 3, season 4?
Yes. It's hard to be specific.
Name names.
I mean, I think being able to draw the characters we love into close orbit is one of the fun things. So getting Snyder in that car at the end of the season and being able to start a season with him directly, in this potentially the same location with the Bowmans. His interactions with Will are always delightful, and Graham doesn't trust him, and there's a powerful cocktail of drama to be explored there.
And we've kind of seen the aliens teased a little bit more each season. But it seems like it's really starting to open up now. Is that something that we can expect to learn more about where they're from or what their objective is in season 3?
Right at the top. Yeah. No. I was in the, I don't know if you're in the panel, but we were saying in the panel, the intention of the show is never to play hide the ball. We have answers. It was just, we were watching the show. We wanted you to learn it as the characters learned it. We didn't want to over-reveal to the audience because we want you to be kind of in the Bowman's perspective. It's a ground-up perspective from the show. So the Bowmans are now outside the wall and they have an opportunity to learn all these fantastic things. There's that image that they tweeted out from the panel of a crashed alien spaceship, and Ryan mentioned that it may not be a rap ship. So yes, there's a big broad thing that we're going to get into right at the top.
In the upcoming season, do you think there will be, or can you tell us if there's going to be a shift in the dynamic of the family?
Yes, I think that's. I mean, the shows that Ryan and Carlton and I love are generally there's a relationship drama, and then you put a genre skin on top of it. So this is clearly a family drama with a sci-fi skin on top of it. And what I like about this show is that it reinvented itself. Season 1, there was this infidelity metaphor, right? And a lot of shows would have kept that through the entire run of the show, and it would have been hard to generate. Those stories would have gotten so tired. So I'm glad we did that in season 1. And season 2 was about the child who comes home and can a marriage repair itself. So yeah, for this new season, there's going to be a new challenge, a new important dynamic that was explored in that relationship. Because I think one of the metaphors of the show is that people who stick together are the ones who are likely to survive. So the strength of the Bowman family, if they're split up, you worry that all of them are at risk.
It seemed too like the Red Hats and the whole structure of the occupation seemed like it was starting to crumble. Like even the Red Hats realized, we're expendable too. So is that whole dynamic kind of in tatters as the series goes forward?
We're fascinated by propaganda, especially at this moment, and how people can ignore observable facts or allow themselves to be misled by observable facts. So that's kind of the question is, yeah, we've now seen that an entire colony can be renditioned and the rats probably don't care about you. But can you still buy into another system? Is there a way that humans under stress who are desperate will just reach out and believe things they really shouldn't believe?
Now that you've moved ahead and we're heading out of LA and our base that we know to the parts unknown for us as viewers, and like you said, we're in it with the cast, with the characters. We're expecting a lot of changes in terms of allies and maybe the interactions within the team. Is it a total reset in that regard?
It is. I mean, so we're moving to Vancouver, which gives us an opportunity to change the look and feel of the show, which I think is great. We've had this very noirish and tone show that was set in splashy, sunny LA, which I think was interesting. But we've now done that for 2 seasons, so going to a place where it's been raining on us every day as we shoot, and you get that kind of gritty texture, and also an opportunity to explore places where there'll be entirely new cast of characters, and I'm sure wonderful Canadian actors, and yeah, the show's going to have a real opportunity to reinvent itself.
And you had some good guest stars too in season 2. It was awesome to see William Russ come in and play that role, which I love William Russ. Is there anybody that we can look forward to seeing in season 3?
I sure hope so. We've had a wonderful casting department, and they've done a great job. Part of that is being in Los Angeles. You know, there are so many great actors here, but there are also great actors up there. The core cast is so strong that I think people are attracted and want to work with us. We don't start production until September 2nd, so I can't be specific. But yeah, we have some opportunities because there are some actors who left at the end of last season or have been cast. I think actors are interested in working on the show because a lot of them have gone on and been able to gone on to great things. So Ali Walker getting cast and goes is a fantastic opportunity, and I think it speaks to other actors an opportunity to come on the show to do something cool or interesting, a little different than something else. So
like Carl Weathers, it was great to see Carl Weathers have that role.
Yes, when I was in Chicago. Yeah.
Can we look forward to going to space again? Is that, do you think you're looking at exploring like the moon base or anything like that, or are you going to be more Earth centric?
Budget depending, that'd be wonderful.
Thank you.
All eyes on you. Well, congratulations on season 3. Thank you. I love season 2. Great. That was a great way to end the show, and it's only its 2nd season. It felt more like a series finale in a lot of ways. Yeah. What is the overall kind of, when you're moving into season 3, it's like the world continues to expand. We're out of LA. Is it just kind of like open road, let's explore the rest of what else is going on in the country? Where we're kind of going to see more colonies and that kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, the idea is to really get out there and see what else is going on in the world, and so definitely in the world, immediately outside the wall, which we'll get into very quickly, as you'll see. But then also, what does the rest of this occupation look like? We've seen in LA that even 2 blocks in the same colony, the Los Angeles block and the Santa Monica block, are run very differently. So there are colonies that stands to reason that are run very differently, and that's part of the fun for us, is just kind of reinventing the show constantly, even within seasons. And this season has 2 very distinct halves to it, as you will see, but that's part of the fun. It's just following this story through the point of view of one singular family at the moment and their experience living under colonialization and occupation, and how they react to it when certain pressures are applied to them.
Plenty of that to go around.
Plenty of that to go around, exactly.
Will the pressures come from Snyder?
So yeah, I mean, they always do. We love writing for Peter, and he's a terrific villain and a great character. Very complex, very human. Even if you hate him, you can't help but understand where he's, at least where he's coming from. You get the character. He's not just doing evil things for evil's sake, just for survival or to get a bigger piece of the pie or whatever it is. But yeah, Snyder plays a enormous role. Probably the biggest role that he's played yet in the show, I think, this year. So, yeah.
Now that Kate and Will are on the same side, is that it's opened up a lot more for you guys to explore their characters?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, in a way, it limits you from a dramatist point of view. I mean, drama is conflict. So when you have somebody, sneaking around and lying about being in the resistance when your husband's working for the occupation, hunting down that very resistance, that makes for some great drama. But we've always been fascinated with that couple and their relationship and what the pressure of this occupation has done to it, and how it's threatened to break it up, how it's forced them closer together. I mean, I think when you see them at least at the top of season 3, they're the closest they've ever been, because it feels like they've been through a lot of stuff, survived a lot of stuff, come out by the skin of their teeth, and appreciate that. It's like it's like having a near-death experience in the way that you look at life differently. And their marriage had certainly a near-death experience, and I think it's come out on the other side very strong. But as I said at the table, Colony, things tend to get a lot worse versus getting better. So stay tuned. There's 13 episodes of grim grim developments yet to come. But I think this is always it's a show that has there's light in the darkness, and that's always the idea, is to not be unrelentingly bleak and grim, and to always have the idea that even if bad things happen, certainly there's some better place to go, even if it's just internal evolution of the characters.
Are you waiting to see how that progresses? I mean, it's harder these days with TV shows to not know, are you picked up for the next season or not?
Right.
So you can't really give a finale if you don't really need a finale. And so are you thinking ahead, here's our season, but we have plans for future?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely, this is not the last season in my mind. So, and we won't write it to that. It will have an ending, obviously, as all seasons do. But, that ending will suggest then another season. I mean, we've always known what the ending was, Carlton and I, in our minds since we conceived of the pilot. The question is just how much distance needs to be traveled between here and there, and now we have even a much better sense of that. But we want to get to that end point. The question is, in an environment of 480 TV shows, can we get enough eyeballs in the intervening time to make that happen? My hope is we will. I think we've built a really good, strong audience over the last 3 years, and I think when people see season 2 on Netflix and in the off season, they'll engage with it in a way that maybe they didn't yet in season 1. And I think the show will bring in new viewers in season 3. At least that's my hope. So, and my mortgage is.
Now, have you considered a spin-off from another perspective? It's a big world, and there could be a lot of different storylines.
Yes, I mean, we talked about these things, conceptually, certainly. I mean, that's the wonderful thing, is it's truly a global, worldwide occupation. So there are 6 billion points of view in this world, and that's part of the fun of it. So certainly, there's been nothing official or anything like that. We've idly toyed with ideas and things. But in the event that did become an opportunity, certainly, that's the fun of it. It's like, what's happening right now in Beijing? Like, what does a Chinese colony look like? And a place that, was not, a very free place before this began. Like, what does that look like now? And how, are they living even more oppressed, or is it, is it freer in a way? Right, exactly. Because they would have dispensed with the government there, just as they did here, right? But what does that mean for the people? Those things all fascinate me. So, I would love to be able to tell the story again and again from different points of view for many years to come.
It was fun to see Europe in that opening episode and be like, oh wow, it is, like that over there too.
Yeah, exactly. And getting to check in different places, and that, that's the global seat of the global authority, the people overseeing all the individual colonial authorities. And we'll see more of that this year, and I think dig into that, and that'll be part of the fun. It's just everybody getting to see how this all works.
Considering how the storyline developed so far, is there anything you wish had happened differently? I mean, you have a lot of control over the story, but is there anything that makes you go, I wonder what would have happened if we had gone a different route with it?
I wish the Falcons had pulled out the Super Bowl.
She said that you can control.
I really do. But I think there's always things that you look back and kind of say, I wish we had, forked right instead of left. I mean, the first season of TV is always about, Carlton has said this, and the guy has created 10 shows over the course of his career or more, I lost count. But the first season is really about finding the show, and I think that's what we did in season 1. And the reason season 2, and I think, I feel it, and I feel like you guys feel it too, is season 2 is just a much stronger season of television with a much clearer point of view, clearer tone, and that was because of the lessons we learned in season 1. We figured out what it was and what it wasn't. The things that we can do successfully on a basic cable budget in 8 days of shooting, and the things that we can't do, and that stuff helped make a stronger season 2, and I think will make for a stronger season 3. So it's just about Game of Thrones. Go back and watch season 1 of Game of Thrones, and it's like it's a completely different show, and it's just about learning and evolving, and getting millions and millions and millions of dollars to make the show better. In their case. Yeah.
So in the current political climate that we're in the world, is that...
Is there something going on? I'm
full of crap. Is that affecting how you're doing some of the storylines? Like, are you trying to utilize this to kind of give a commentary on what's going on?
No, specifically no, because I think if you make contemporary commentary on a specific event, it dates the show immediately. And I mean, we would be commenting on something now that you wouldn't be seeing for 9 months, and a lot of people wouldn't see for 2 years because they're watching on Netflix. So it's just there's no way to do it. South Park can do that and get away with it because they write it today and it's on the air next Thursday. But we just can't do that. So the idea with our show is to be thematically resonant, and that means taking timeless concepts and exploring them in a way that's specific to colony. Like this year, we're going to do a refugee story or explore the refugee crisis, which people will immediately look at it and they will see the Syrian refugee crisis. But there was the Kuwaiti refugee crisis that happened in the first Gulf War, and the idea is that these things just repeat themselves through time and through history. And in 10 years, when we're here doing the 10-year retrospective on colony, something else will be going on in the world if Trump hasn't killed us all. We will, it will be resonant then to that thing. So the idea is just to try to make a resonant show that kind of lives through, is timeless and lives through multiple periods of history. And hopefully people, Wise Guy is having its 30th reunion here at Comic-Con this year, and I would love that to be the case with our show 30 years from now. So, yeah.
Similarities are fairly coincidental.
Snyder is here.
That's like right in my brain now.
And we're wrong.
Although the last time we saw Snyder, he was on the road, which was a former proxy outside of his habitat. It's got to be an interesting thing to be able to explore.
Yes, and that we're going so far away from our regular habitat. Everybody's going to be in a more heightened crisis situation, and leave it to these writers. They know how to tell a story and build on a story and provide opportunity for characters and relationships to deepen and get more uncomfortable. And Snyder's going to be uncomfortable, but he is the great survivor, I think, and he'll find his way. Even when the shit has really hit the fan.
Do you think Schneider has a higher opinion of himself? Because here's one thing that I try to put in context quickly. He talked about, I'm at Stanford and I'm at this, and then we saw in flashbacks that was kind of embellished.
Right, a little bit.
But yet he does seem to be having a long game plan, because that look he made at the end as they were all driving off made me think, and the way he dealt with the guards in the gateway, it seems to me like he's got a long plan already in place.
Well, he does have a long plan that's not just survival. I think there's more to it than that. But the look was also, there was also some, I hope, some shades of guilt, regret, not knowing what's going to happen, and that was all very real for him. I think he's really again in hyper survival mode at that point, and again it just shows the shades. He can have a long game plan, but be poised and ready every hour to do whatever the hell he needs to survive, to make sure that that long game plan is still available to him. That's what's unique about him. Is that, you wouldn't think he's got that many skills, but he does.
Yeah, he seemed on the decline, and then he stepped up and handled the situation, and it was like a switch was flipped, and it's, I'm back.
Right. No, that's what's fun. I would think that's, we don't know, put in the right circumstances or the wrong circumstances, how will you respond?
Right.
Are you able to flip a switch and just be there? And Snyder, moment to moment to moment, proves to himself and to those around him that he can make at least a shrewd move.
Yeah.
Is he an opportunist or a survivor?
Both. But that's the key, is that a great survivor is a stupendous opportunist. And I think when we met him in season 1, we just knew he was a hell of an opportunist, and but he has emerged as a terrific survivor along the way.
I think the analogy was brought up as Scorpion and the Frog, and he's more of maybe the Scorpion, and it's in his nature. It's like he really does maybe feel like he should be allied with them and allies, and has a change of heart. And those are true feelings or organic feelings. But like you said, the opportunities, if they arise, he's looking out for himself. So he may not be able to stop from staying.
Right. And people say, "Oh, what's it like to play a bad guy?" Because we align that idea with a certain evil character or somebody who's more bad than good. Snyder doesn't think of himself that way at all. He does what he needs to do to survive, and he is an opportunist. But he's functioning within his own moral universe that is absolutely right.
So will he do that at the risk of other people's lives? And, we've seen him. We've seen him do that. But has he truly evolved to maybe that would be something that he would have to think about?
I don't know yet. I just don't know. About 60% don't know, 40% can't say.
Okay.
But he's underneath that is somebody who is also willing to step out of himself enough to help somebody else. I think it's not insignificant that he has essentially, he's pretty mumuch rescued 75% of, about 66.6% of the Bowman family children. He didn't, and we'll see what maybe Gracie will be the next one I say. That there is a heart there. Obviously there was opportunity for him in that. He was also, at least with Charlie, but with Bram, I didn't have to take Bram. Well, then again, I did. He was a bit of a chit. But that's what's great about the guy, is that how much of that was just pure, that he felt for Will, which I think he does. He likes Will, and yet he knew that Bram, so he knew he was saving his son, but Bram could do something for him. It's all a game. It's a very complex game for him. I love it.
Would Snyder be suited for the Global Authority?
I think he's suited for anything. I really, honestly do. I think he thinks he did a great job with the authority that he had initially as proxy, and any other level of control or office holding, I think he did great.
What do you love about Snyder, and what do you totally hate about him and wish he could change?
As an actor, nothing. There's nothing to hate about him. He's just, I love everything they give him. And we're getting to that point now where we sort of understand each other. Me as actor, Ryan and Carlton and Wes. I read the first episode of the third season, and it's funny. You get a chance to really evolve as a show, and we get each other now. It's almost like a shorthand. I just, what I was reading was like, oh, they totally get Snyder now. But everything we've been talking about, his wiliness and his absolute determination to survive, I just love that. That just sets a template for a character who will excite and disappoint and has a moral code that is constantly shifting as far as the audience is concerned. There's nothing I hate about him. I don't know. I'd like to see him be a little more of a cowboy and maybe get the girl every now and then. But that's not in the cards. It's not, at least not now.
Is there a line that you feel he should never cross?
A line? Well, I think he thinks that there are, like any human being does, but when he gets to that line, and in this world that they've created, every character is constantly being put up to those lines, which is what's great and what's appealing about this show when people respond to it. I don't know. You just don't know. I would say. What?
The rules have changed.
Yeah, and they change every time. The goalposts keep getting pushed further back, and everybody puts their goalposts different places, and they're willing or not willing to put him further. And clearly, Snyder has a lot of leeway in terms of where he'll put his goalposts. So I would say the answer is no. I don't think there is a line he won't cross, and that's what I love about it.
One last question, guys.
So as an actor, which do you prefer playing, good guys or bad guys?
Bad guys. I answered that very quickly. I think that I like playing good guy. I like playing bad guys with a good heart. I mean, but then again, any well-written bad guy is going to have a heart. I like bringing a sort of comic sensibility or a softer side to somebody who is struggling in the world. Bad guy means that you've got more obstacles, I think. And as an actor, and if the writing is good, obstacles are what present different color challenge as a character and as an actor. So I always kind of like to play bad guys, and strangely, I keep getting to play them. I don't think I'm a bad guy. No, my wife is like, oh, it's another schmuck you get to play. That's what I do. I play kind of nice schmucks. I think that's me.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations on coming back for season 3.
Thank you.
I know this is like Katie's such a fascinating character because she's got a lot on her plate, obviously, but it's so nice to see she feels like she needs to do things for her family, and she's going off and doing them on her own, but now her and Will are kind of united and are on the same page. So has that been fun for you to kind of for you and Will to kind of team up now, and you don't have to hide stuff from them?
Absolutely. I mean, I definitely think there's a challenge coming into season 3. Will and Katie are in a good place, and they're in a strong place. They've found at least a temporary solution. But I do think that Katie has a drive towards resistance that in Will is a drive towards protecting his family. And so he's looking kind of at the micro and she's looking at the macro, and that's a source of friction. And I think one of the things that's really great about the way that this relationship, I think, is written is that you have two people who have equally viable ethical arguments to make. One of them is not right and one of them is not wrong. And so that's a constant, that's the fault line, right? That the show is, there's little earthquakes, there's big earthquakes, and then there's some stability, and then there's an earthquake, that kind of thing.
Not stability for too long. It's always something that's going to come up. But it was fun though to see her almost be between Broussard and Will and kind of navigating that relationship, because they're kind of at odds with each other, and she has to kind of keep the peace, and then she's got the kids to worry about too. So I mean, she's just the beating heart of that group, and I think without her, that group is a little rudderless. But it's nice to see Kate, taking charge and like she always has, and she always felt the need to do something. Are you excited to kind of continue that, but on the road in season 3? It seems like the dynamic might be completely changed when we next see Kate.
It's going to be very changed. I think one of the biggest, one of the explorations that I'm most interested in, kind of leading into season 3, is the relationship between Katie and her son. And I think it's one thing to take a stand and follow your heart and do what you think is right. It's another thing when you see your child do the same thing, knowing that got you into a shitload of trouble, and quite frankly, it almost got you killed, right? And so I think she's really hoping, as all parents do, to save her son the colossal mistakes that she's made and to try and educate him a little. Teenage boys aren't famous for wanting to learn lessons from their parents. So we'll see.
Do you think Katie, given a chance, would forgive her sister for portrayal season?
Katie knows who Maddie is, and she knows that she's a little selfish, she's a little shallow, she's kind of a moral relativist. She's also my freaking sister, and I don't know that there are many, if anything, in the world that aren't forgivable, especially when they may be the only two people of their generation left in the world. I think it would be a question of would Maddie ever ask for forgiveness? You know, I mean, all Katie knows is that her sister sold her out for her and her family to be sent to the family. I think the most heartbreaking part of that in some ways to Katie is, why didn't you trust me to get you out of this? Why did you resort to that? I know that Maddie is somebody who, when she's backed into a corner, can do some pretty terrible stuff. But you weren't backed into a corner. I gave you an out. Do you not love me enough to take it? You know what I mean? I think it's that, like, there's a big fight coming down the hill eventually. But I think at the end of that, yeah, is sisterhood.
It's going to be brawl. I think it might be a brawl.
I mean, Amanda's a really good boxer, so I kind of hope it doesn't come to that, but I'll start bobbing and weaving. Just like, float like a butterfly.
So, as an actress, you've been in so many genre things at this point that people just love. Like, and are you seeing the strong roles for women and the really needy good roles for women are in genre roles right now, like science fiction, horror, with badassery,
Badassery, by the way, is my new favorite word.
Yes.
You know, I mean, what's interesting about your question is I think, in a way, in my mind, the concept of genre itself is falling apart, which is to say that genre used to mean we don't have as much respect for this as we do legitimate drama. But then you have a show like Walking Dead that's, at least, you know, I can only speak for when I was on it because I never watched the show, but like in those first 3 years, that was world-class drama. You can have zombies in it, but it's world-class drama.
And made me cry.
I do. And I'm sorry.
Guys, we're gonna wrap.
You got it. But to sort of, you know, finish answering your question, I think roles for women are expanding in really exciting ways. I still think we need to keep an eye on it because it's really easy to go, oh my God, we had the Hunger Games, we had every other Jennifer Lawrence movie, you know what I mean? We've got Amy Adams, it's great. But like, you know, it's not that the Bechdel test is infallible, but take a look at Arrival. There's 1.5 women in that entire film. It's an amazing film, and it's a great role for a woman. But there are, you know, a dozen men with interesting things to do in that. And then there's Amy Adams, and there's flashbacks of a daughter who I don't know if she ever opens her mouth. And so, again, fantastic. But maybe it's a false peak. Do you know what I mean? Like, maybe we got to the top of the mountain, planted our flag, and you look up and you're like, oh, that's Everest. Yeah. Oh, okay. We've still got work to do. That's my thinking.
Thank you.